Welcome to People Tech, the podcast of WorkforceAI.news. I'm Mark Pfeffer. I'm talking today with Tate Hackert. He's the co-founder and chief strategy officer of ZayZoon, an earned wage access provider that focuses on small businesses and what it sees as the unique needs of their employees. The company offers more than the chance to get at your money before payday. It aims to be a financial solutions provider of sorts for SMB employees. We're going to talk about the specifics of what they do and what they want to do, and more, on this edition of People Tech. Tate, hi, welcome. I noticed in your biography you were a fisherman.
So I'll go on a bit of a story here. I grew up on, and if you can't already tell with the accent, I am Canadian. I grew up on the west coast of Canada, Vancouver Island, beautiful, beautiful place. And I did commercial fishing as a young teenager. So think 14, 15, 16 years old, made more money than I probably should have at that age. And when I was 16 years old, I had the opportunity to do a second mortgage for someone. So this individual had poor credit. They were a family friend, and I was able to lend them money for a mortgage. And a year later, I got a check back with interest. And I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. I can give money out and get more money back. And I went a little bit crazy with it. So I'm 33 years old. This would have been in 2005, 2006. Craigslist was a really great place to gather if you wanted to buy things. I've been into music my entire life, and so I'd always buy and sell guitars or buy and sell drum sets, and Craigslist was the place you'd go to look for things. And I just assumed, well, if someone's looking for money, maybe they will also look to Craigslist. So I took all this fishing money that I made and continued to make, and I went to Craigslist and made an advertisement that said money available. I sifted through what you can imagine would be hundreds and hundreds of emails of people saying I need money, and eventually I would lend out that money. And so that was really like this business that I had between the age of 16 and 23, all through university as well, where I would lend money through Craigslist and get more back. And between that age of 16 and 23, it was a little over $250,000 of my own capital that I did that with. And what was really interesting, though, and kind of how this ties to ZayZoon, is a lot of these individuals had really solid incomes, and for whatever reason, they needed short-term liquidity. And for whatever reason, they were coming to Craigslist to get that short-term liquidity. It was so interesting to me. Now, of course, what that did is it led me down this entire path of like researching short-term liquidity crunches and why do people need this? Why are people coming to Craigslist? What's available to them? And it uncovered two major things, which was overdraft fees and payday loans, both of which are extremely expensive and extremely egregious to the consumer. And so the thought way back in 2012, 2013 was, could we put an end to payday loans by simply integrating in with a person's place of work and giving them advances on their pay, and then getting repaid back through the payroll. That last part is really, really important because the payday loan is super expensive for a number of reasons, but a major reason is because the default rates are so high. They have all of these really great customers that are subsidizing all of the really bad ones. But by tying into the payroll system, you're able to get repaid back. Your default rates go basically to zero, and you're able to pass all of those savings onto the consumer. So that was like the initial idea. And of course, over the years, we pioneered this into an entirely new industry called earned wage access, where you as an employee can come in and get paid for the hours that you've worked, but obviously haven't been paid for yet through the existing payroll system. And it all happens for a low fee between $0 and $5, really akin to think of it as an ATM for your hours. And so yeah, that's been ZayZoon in a nutshell here. Maybe I'll round that off by saying today more than 15,000 businesses across the U.S. Offer ZayZoon to their staff, and do so in a really seamless and in a really seamless way, I suppose, because the real differentiator for ZayZoon is we partner with payroll companies first and foremost, and because that integration work and all that heavy lifting is done there, it means an employer of one employee or an employer of 100,000 employees can activate ZayZoon and offer us to their staff in as little as 15 minutes.
But how do you differ from outfits like Daily Pay, for example?
Major differentiator is we target the small business community.
Mhm.
And so we're talking, mom and pop shops, businesses with dozen employees or less in some cases even. Of course, we track up, but our main differentiator is being able to offer our service in a seamless way, the ultra small business.
Now, you recently, or not too long ago anyway, launched your Perks Marketplace, which I was real interested in. I haven't seen a lot of those. Can you tell me about it?
The thinking around the Perks Marketplace is we have all of these customers that use us on a daily basis to come in and access their pay early. They're also actually coming to us to view other things as well, like their upcoming paycheck and what their hours worked has looked like, because we're a better source of truth for that. We're a better user experience for that anyways than perhaps them going to their payroll portal. And so, we have a very active group of customers, and the thinking was, well, why aren't we servicing them with more exclusive offerings that only a ZayZoon customer can get access to? Can we give them discounts on their car insurance? Can we get them discounts on their phone bill, or can we help them report their rent to the credit bureaus so that their credit score improves over time? Really, like, through this lens of, can ZayZoon be a conduit for an improved financial life for that employee? And for us, like, the Perks Marketplace was a really simple way to offer a bunch of different offerings, I suppose, to the employee, in again, like, in a really simple, easy way.
And what are the kind of perks that are offered through the marketplace?
So last year we offered, and we'll do so this, or I guess this year and into next year's tax season. We offered free tax filing for our customers. So we have a embedded tax service inside of the ZayZoon app, where people can file their taxes for free. We have a car insurance comparison tool that helps people compare and contrast against their existing provider, and then get discounts on their car insurance. And then there's also things like exclusive offerings around Headspace, like the mental health app, the meditation app. And so it's like a wide range of offerings, but really each offering that we put inside of the ZayZoon Perks Marketplace is predicated on, how do we improve, like, that employee's financial or mental health well-being at work? How do we make them a better employee is really what it is. And it just so happens that financial stress is a major cause of productivity loss at work, but there's other things as well that employees seek out, and we can be a really solid aggregator for that workplace.
Running a business comes with a lot of what ifs, but luckily there's a simple answer to them: Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Welcome to the Hire Her podcast, where women in talent call all the shots. We know, another recruiting podcast, just what the industry needs. Okay, but hear us out. You ever spend hours sourcing that perfect candidate, but they end up ghosting you harder than your Hinge date? Or finally, you get that hiring manager feedback, only for them to, of course, say, "Can we see more candidates?" Lame, right? But let's talk about what's really lame in the industry. How is it that 65% of recruiters are brilliant women, yet most of the decision makers look like a convention for middle-aged dudes named Brad?
That's where we come in. Hire Her isn't just another podcast about hiring trends you already heard like 50 times this week. We're here to elevate women in talent, share their career journeys, and make sure they take the lead. Because let's face it, if recruiting is the backbone of every company, why are we still fighting for a seat at the table? So whether you're a recruiter, a talent leader, or just someone trying to swim through the sausage fest of TA leadership, we got you, girl. Welcome to Hire Her, the recruiting podcast where women's voices aren't just heard, but they're leading the conversation.
So subscribe now, because middle management Brad sure as hell isn't going to do it for you.
So can you talk me through your thought process when you're either picking products to be in the marketplace or developing a new feature for ZayZoon itself? How do you decide what fits?
We are super customer centric. And I know that like sounds like what everyone says. I'll maybe use two anecdotes to describe that. First is dating back to 2022, myself and more than 40 ZayZooners at different times, and you'll know why in a second, hopped in an RV and we did a 75-day trip from Los Angeles all the way to New York and hit 21 states in between. And why that's important and why, it means something when I say customer centricness is because the entire intent of that was to be boots on the ground, connecting with our customers, connecting with clients, and connecting with our payroll partners, and hearing and seeing what they need and what they want. And that's carried through now. So now we have a team whose full-time job is visiting clients, visiting workspaces, work sites, and throwing events with them. It's talking with the worksite managers, it's talking with the employees, it's getting feedback in real time about ZayZoon, it's holding sign-up parties to see how they're interacting with the app. It's being, again, like really, really in the weeds and caring about that customer experience, that client experience, and what that payroll company, also wants in all of that. And so we service all three of those customers, the employee, the employer, and the payroll company, really, really well. And it's because we keep an ear to the ground at all times with everything we do.
And what do you hear from, your customers when you're out on these trips, but, or otherwise? Can you spot any particular themes from the things they're asking for, the things that they're concerned about?
So the sign-up rates, the sign-up flow is never as easy as I would like it to be. And so that's something that our product team needs to continue to improve. But that's more of like a personal gripe that I have, I suppose. As far as the employees, there's a couple themes that come up, right? And it's inherent in some of the perks I've spoken more about, I suppose. So about 70% of our customers have a car, and the other 30% don't. They take public transit. And so the 70% of customers that do have a car is an expensive asset, or an expensive, depreciating asset for someone that is in many cases hourly worker working for just above minimum wage. And so, them telling us like the issues that they've had, seriously, like the issues that they had with their car, them not being able to get to work because they couldn't afford gas, like all of these things has spawned two major products. So one is the car insurance tool that we have in our Perks Marketplace. The other is a gas card payout option. So when an employee comes into ZayZoon to access their pay early, we have the option for them to actually take their pay early in the form of a gas card. That gas card has an evergreen offering of a 5% cash back reward attached to it. So now that employee can take $20 early from their paycheck, put that towards a gas card, and that gas card gives them, $20 plus 5% cash back on that. And so we're making their dollars go further. And on top of that gas card for them to access is free. So it's like a win-win-win all around. And so we hear things like that, right? Like things that probably everyone's familiar with, like people needing better credit, people struggling to make ends meet and get to work on time because a car is broken down or whatever else. People looking for more flexibility in payout options, being able to disperse directly to their Venmo account because that's what they pay their rent with. All of these things inform, on that topic, like the flexibility that we give to employees, whereby an employee can come in and take their pay early, whether it be to Zelle, to Venmo, to their existing bank account, to a ZayZoon prepaid debit card. We want to make sure that we're meeting them where they are. And all of that comes through conversations and findings that we've had with them.
Do you find that the difference between small business, which is your core market, and larger businesses, enterprises, the daily pay market, say, are there big differences in the approach of those businesses to their employees and the kind of things they want to offer?
Yeah, I believe that small businesses, just by nature, it's the employee is less of a number there. Um, I've seen that there tends to be a lot more empathy. I've also seen that there tends to be a lot more hardship when it comes to being able to offer products because, again, typically a small business is cash strapped themselves. And so it's our job at ZayZoon to make our offering super simple and seamless for that employer to adopt, or else, they're not going to be able to. A large enterprise can very easily put budget aside for a program like this. They can very easily, use the systems in place that they already have to communicate it out to their employee base and let their employees know that all of this exists. That's not the case with small business, right? So small business, like sometimes it's a broken text message chain. It might be a WhatsApp thread. There might be no communication at all. It might be a paper in the lunchroom. And why that matters is because without that through line of communication, a lot of these benefits kind of fall to the wayside. And so at ZayZoon, we work hand in glove with that client to really ensure a rollout does get to all of the employees, and so those employees benefit through the service, and then of course the business ends up doing so as well.
So where's all this going, do you think? What are the kind of features, kind of products that you're looking at beginning to develop now, say, that might be coming down the pike in 2026, 2027?
I believe the future is in a connected deskless workforce. And what I mean by that is you look at gig work. Gig work is growing like crazy, and it's growing like crazy because it provides employees with a certain set of things. It provides them with control. It provides them with flexibility and confidence, and all of these things that put together, I believe, is what's lacking in the current deskless workforce. You look at a franchisee, a fast food worker, they're not getting that same support. They're not getting that same connectingness with their whether it be manager or owner or whomever. And so when I think of the future of ZayZoon and the impact that we can have on the workforce, earned wage access is really interesting because it seems like on the surface it's just giving people access to their pay early. What it's really doing, though, is it's improving the retention, recruitment, and productivity of a workplace. And so, what are other products that we can serve up that we have a distinct competitive advantage in doing so that allow that employer to also experience those three things: retention, recruitment, and productivity efforts? And so that has been the cornerstone of a few things that we've launched this year: rewards and recognition, a workplace communications tool, a surveys tool. All of these things, again, with that goal of like, how do we improve the interconnectedness between an employer and their most valuable asset, the employee, and how is the end result of that translate to an improved financial outcome for that employee? And that improved financial outcome can be that employee saving money by taking earned wage access and therefore not having to succumb to payday loans. But it can also be by that employee's, workplace morale being boosted and them staying beyond their average 7-month tenure, right? That employee stays a little bit longer, they get that next promotion, they move up. And so that's really at ZayZoon at the heart of what we're doing going forward, is building that connected workforce, specifically for the deskless workplace.
What's the story behind ZayZoon? I mean, it's an interesting name. Where's it come from?
Mark, I wish I had a really, really good story that tied into like the meaning of the name and why it's, so unique and wonderful and all these things. The truth is, I went to school in Hong Kong for my final semester, and it was the name of a professor that I had. I was scribbling it in class one day because, I mean, here's my professor, and his name's there. But then also, I thought that it was unique and sounded kind of cool. And this is back in 2013, 2014, when Tech 2.0 was sort of just becoming a thing. And I wanted a name that could encompass technology and not a name that was just, advances on demand or something like that. And so, ZayZoon's stuck, and here we are today.
Tate, thanks so much for taking the time and talking with me today. It'd be great to talk with you again, and thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
My guest today has been Tate Hackert, the co-founder and chief strategy officer of ZayZoon. And this has been People Tech, the podcast of WorkforceAI.news. We're a part of the Work Defined Podcast Network. Find them at www.wrkdefined.com. And to keep up with AI technology and HR, subscribe to Workforce AI today. We're the most trusted source of news in the HR tech industry. Find us at www.workforceai.news. I'm Mark Pfeffer.